So after sticking down the XPS, I filled in the gaps between with expanding foam, and it's been curing overnight. So now I'm just going to get in there with my knife and remove the excess. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Rookie Rebecca's Van Life Vlogs. So I've had a couple of very big Bunnings days. So got some plywood, I think 2.4 by 1.2. Took it straight to my dad's and cut it into 8mm strips. Went back to Bunnings, got this lovely 18 by 42 by 2700. So I'm going to cut that in exactly half, and serendipitous, that is the exact length I should need for the ribs at the top. Insulation, I got the highest level energy rating that I could afford. And once I've got these cut down to size, screwed into the walls, I am going to be very, very happy. So when the big piece of plywood was cut into 80mm strips, there is this 40mm leftover piece. So I'm going to use this just to measure out the length in terms of cutting all of the other pieces so that it will fit between the floor and the roof effectively. So I'm quite happy with this length because from where the ceiling will come to, it should be very easy to make it work. So all the way down the bottom, and it'll flex in like this, and I'll screw it into the metal. So one thing I didn't take into account with my measurement is the floor. So the plywood floor that's going to go on top of the foam. But that's okay because I have a few millimeters either way on the 180 measurement. So I'm going to cut a 2cm jig to stick underneath the pieces for when I screw in the side ribs so that the floor piece can be slid in after the ribs are up. Ta-da! The finished piece. So I've got my piece in the bottom and press to there, oop, and I have a very good height to work with. So I've counted out the ribs in my van and I'm going to need 6 of the 180cm length. So I'm just going to measure them out and cut them down now. $17mm ply, cut 80mm by 180 centimeters. I reckon I got that pretty damn close. So I have the 180 centimeter lengths lent up against where they're going to go. Now all I have to measure out is ones for the wheel arches, awkward little curves in the corner. And you may be wondering why I haven't swept up all of this debris that I've cut off the top of the spray foam insulation, because I'm not 100% happy with some of the later cans. So the first can that I sprayed turned out really nicely. Like there are tiny, tiny little holes, and that's ideally what I wanted. And then you get to the 3rd, 4th and 5th cans and it's Swiss cheese. So what I'm doing is basically finding any larger holes and tearing off pieces of this to stuff inside there. It's hopefully going to help with the insulation. I also found a rather beaten up 5 meter tape measure in the walls. Bonus! I'm going to use the old screws that came out of the van to screw the new planks of wood back into the van. I have 27 that are 30 mils long and one that is 25 and about a dozen random shorter sizes. But the problem with these ones is once they're screwed in, they're not going to sit flush. So I'm going to drill a pilot hole, then I'm going to drill tiny bit into the wood, just enough so that I can get the head to sit flat. And then I'm going to attach the pieces to my van. If this works, I'll be sweet. Almost. So I went up a bit size and now it is perfectly flush. So I'm going to begin on the van. So out of all of the ribs in the van, I reckon this one, there is the most margin of error that I can make before it becomes problematic. So this will be my trial for attaching the rest of them. I've closed up the doors because it has actually started to rain today, but I'm gonna give it a go. So the screws that came with the van didn't exactly work the way I wanted to, but these sheet metal screws that I took from my mate have worked a charm. And have a look at this. It is solid, and thanks to the little jig piece, there is enough space here for the floor to go in when it finally arrives.